now we've come full circle, and hopefully it's not real windy. It doesn't feel like it. When I started to write The Brave Journey 12 years ago, I got the idea while I was at work, and I was mowing this baseball field, and the idea had been brewing in my head for over a year, or maybe half a year, probably more like half a year. And then all of a sudden, just one morning on a baseball field, this beetle was racing across the grass in front of my mower, and I smashed it. And I tell kids this all the time, but that's how I came up with, that's when everything came together. You know, I was watching Back to the Future, and the part where Doc Brown fell off the toilet and hit his head, and he came up with the idea for the flux capacitor for time travel. Okay, obviously this is not of that magnitude, but running over that beetle was my whatever moment, lightning moment, and so I started to write all these notes down at work, and then I would come out here to write, and I wrote The Brave Journey in this book, this little notepad. This was done in July of 2008. I finished it in October of 2008. It is now June of 2020, and so I still have this. You can buy it for $1 million if you want. But I won't take less. But all these places that I've showed you, I like to joke around and say they're kind of run down and all that. But truthfully, they are all so very special to me. Every little place from the book, it just reminds me of a hidden world that's written in pages. And an adventure that I would have loved to have taken when I was a kid. You know, all these places I just exaggerated and made them a little bit different. But like I said, some of them are probably pretty accurate. They're almost the same. The characters, some of them act just like they did in real life. Some of the animals, I assume, are pretty close to how they really acted. Pugsley, you know, and Paco. I didn't get to know the real Paco very long, but he certainly acted like a wise old dog, and so, you know, a lot of animals have personalities, and you just try to capture that and put it into their character. So, but this was always something I wanted to get back to, you know, going back to the pasture to write while I was writing the first book, and so this is what I did. I sit in a camping chair and write, and after I would write it on paper, I would put it back down on the computer. So I did this for the first 3 books, and then I realized it was a lot faster just to write it on a laptop. So, or type it, I guess. I hope you've enjoyed all this video footage that I showed you. I apologize for the wind. Some mornings and evenings in Kansas, you don't get any wind, and it's just amazing. It's a great place. Some days you get a lot of wind, and there's nothing you can do about it. But and I don't say the story takes place in Kansas. Just so you know, if you're in Texas or Ohio or wherever, you're more than welcome, wherever you're at, to say it can take place in your state. But I just wanted you to see here in Kansas the scenery that I grew up around and was able to use for my world of the kingdom at the end of the driveway. And it was so much easier to write it that way because I knew where everything was. And you know, when I was writing the first book, it's like even the sounds of this area, the crows flying overhead, you'd see buzzards in the sky all the time, and snakes started showing up around the house a lot more. It was almost, it sounds dumb, but it was almost like the animals knew they knew that they were being written about, that they were a part of a story, and so they started to show themselves. You know, when I made the book trailers, we we didn't have rain for a long time, and then when I was like doing the Rightful Air book trailer, all of a sudden one night it stormed, and this big snapping turtle showed up in the front yard, and it was as if it was being called to come to the house so I could film it and put it in a book trailer, and that was really cool. When we filmed the first trailer for The Brave Journey, you know, we actually had the real Paco. We borrowed him, and I had the boy who played Benjamin and Paco walking through the pasture, but Paco wouldn't follow him anywhere. He would just go wander off. We couldn't get the dog to follow the boy who played Benjamin. So what we did, we put these beef treats in the boy's hand, and he would hold them, and Paco would follow him, just like in the book. Paco loved beef sticks, and it was so funny because Paco would even hop over the grass, just like he does in The Brave Journey when they're traveling through this field. So many things were so accurate to how the book was, or I don't know if it's life imitating art or vice versa, but it was so cool to see everything come to life. And this place, all these places that I'm joking around about, you know, they're run down and all that, they're still part of the kingdom at the end of the driveway to me. And I hope that they never go away. I mean, we saw Frangus's barn was torn down. That was a tragedy. But a lot of the places will still be here. And I love coming out here to Haverhill, Pickerel Corner, Leon, because to me that is the book, and I get to be reminded of it all the time. So I hope wherever you're at, your place is special to you. Write a book about it if you want. You know more about that place than I do, so you can describe it a lot better. But thank you so much for following me on this little tour. And I'm working on book 6. I hope I can get it out soon. But yeah, it was so much fun to show you all these places.
Ay, ay, ay.